So today we're going to check out the tune "Oh When the Saints Go Marching In," and I'm going to point out a very special part in the song. And that's the part I want to talk about. If we look at all the notes in this melody, we'll notice that all of the notes are members of the chord. So these notes are all members of the C chord. Want to join in that. But at this point, we have a conflict. We have a note that's not a member of the F chord. And that creates a bit of tension. And that's actually what makes this part sound so nice. And later that tension is resolved when that note falls down to a note that's part of the F chord. So it is suspended at first, and then it's resolved. So literally suspended in the air and then falls down. So suspension occurs when there's a note that's from a previous chord. This G is from the C chord, and it's carried through over the chord change, and then eventually resolved to a note from the new chord. Traditionally, suspensions are written with ties, and this would technically be an appoggiatura, but for all intensive purposes, we're going to call it a suspension. And suspensions almost always resolve downwards. The suspended note falls down. This one we call suspensions with numbers as well. So this one we call it a 9/8 suspension because it's going from the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to the 8. You could also call it a 2-1 suspension, but people prefer to call it 9/8 usually. Suspensions can be confusing at times, so what I would recommend is trying to distinguish between when you're listening to the melody or when you're listening to the harmony, or when you're hearing the melody in your head or hearing the harmony in your head. So if you're trying to figure out a tune, then what I would do is focus on the melody and try to ignore the harmony that you might be hearing in your head. Try to listen specifically for the melody.